So last class we were seeing how to use standard actions, and standard actions has been provided for what? Avoiding writing Java code in the JSP. In the standard actions we covered 3 tags: forward, param and include. So you saw that it is helping you to avoid writing Java coding in the JSPs. Similarly, there are other tags in standard actions. Which are they? The other pending tags: useBean, setProperty, getProperty. So these tags also will be used for what? Avoiding writing Java coding in the JSP. So we'll move with the other 3 tags of which one now? Standard actions. Clear? That is useBean, setProperty and getProperty. So we'll be seeing those tags now. So to understand those tags, see first you have to understand the process of this class. Means what I'll be doing in this class today. First I'll make you understand independently how to use this tags. So this example what I'll be giving you now will be actually teaching you independently of how to use the tags. Then those tags will be fit into what? The previous example I had given in the last class. So I'll use these tags in that example and show you how practically it will be used. So one example, the first example what I'll be covering now will teach you the concepts of those tags. And those concepts will be used in the previous example where we saw, like we were getting the display from the database and displaying it in the JSP now. So there we have to avoid writing what? Java coding. So that we have to do. Means in the previous example what we have done was we have used scriptlets to display the values. So that we'll be avoiding. Are you clear? So you have to understand the process now. The process, you got it clear now? One is you are going to understand the 3 tags. And then I show you how to use it practically. So to make you understand those 3 tags properly, I am giving you an example. So this is an example to make you understand the concept of useBean, setProperty and getProperty. So it is going to have some attributes. We'll see that. So let me give the requirement to you first. Then you'll understand how to use those tags. The requirement is now, see, very simple. Understand the requirement. Okay, the user types something and the login.html gets displayed. Okay. So now once the user enters the value, first name, last name or email, any of these kind of values, what is going to happen now is you are going to write on JSP now. So you have to see, always remember, okay, yeah, so means I am writing a JSP now. So what we are going to do is in this JSP, my requirement is now you have to accept the request. Who is going to accept the request now? The JSP is going to accept the request. It will collect all the incoming request values, request parameter values, and it has to store it into a TO called as %TO. That TO it should be put into what? Request scope. Then the fourth step. Next what you have to do? After storing the TO into the request scope, you have to get the TO from the request scope, and then what you have to do? Display values to the client. Means same values, what he has entered, same you will display. So when you see the output of this example, it looks meaningless. What are you finally trying to do? You are collecting the values from the user and displaying back to him. There's nothing much to from the output point of view, there is nothing. But there are a lot of concepts we'll cover here in understanding what? How to use the tags. Okay, so first I'll show you without those tags how difficult it is to write this JSP now. Concept is very simple now. Collect the values from request, store values in %TO. You know this 3-5 steps I have to do. So let me write the %TO now. See, this is the class called as %TO. So what will be your TO containing now? 3 properties. What are the 3 properties? String, first name, string, last name, then string, email. And likewise you'll have what? Setter getter methods. You'll have the setter getter methods for all this. So this is how your TO is going to be. A TO is what? A user defined value object. User defined value object which is used for storing values, and then it will be used for transferring values from one layer to another layer or one method to another method. So you know that. So this is a TO. So this is how you'll write your TO now. So that's the requirement. You got what is the %TO now? So how do you write the code now? Setter getter method. So all these are called as what actually? These are all called as what? Properties. The instance variables in a TO is called as what? Properties. Remember that. And these are the setter getter methods for your properties. They are instance variables, but according to the design pattern, okay, these instance variables in a TO class will be called as what? Properties. And for all the properties you'll have setter getter methods. So this is thing now, properties. Yeah. So let's write the code now. How will you write the code now? Tell me this user detail.jsp. Assume that you don't know the tags now, standard actions. Till now you don't know. So yes, obviously I tried it using what? Scripting elements, that is scriptlets, declarations and expressions. Using that only I tried now. So tell now how will you write the code? First you have tried %@ of page. Yes. Import attribute you need. Import is equal to what? Import is equal to what? com.cluster.to.%to. Assuming that this to has been kept where? Some package. This to will be kept in a package. So you tried this. You want to use it now. So first that you will write. Then next what will you write? You will start writing the scriptlets. String. See, these are your assignments in fact. Whatever I am telling you now, this code, don't think it as what? Class. You have to think it as what? Your assignment. You have to start thinking and coding now. But unfortunately what's happening here? I am writing the code for you, which is quite ridiculous. Yes, now let's start writing the code now. String, what is that you'll write now? S1 is equal to what? Request dot get parameter of, supposingly you are given first name, last name. What is the parameter name you are given? For this input box, first name, last name, and you are given this box as email. You will be given the input type is equal to text, name is equal to request dot get parameter of first name. Similarly you will tell what? String S2 is equal to request dot get parameter of last name. Similarly, I write string S3 is equal to request dot get parameter of email. Fine. After that, what is your duty? Next duty. You got values. See, collect request parameter values. Understood? That is over. Next what? Put it into TO. So you have to create the object now. So how will you create now? %TO PTO is equal to new %TO. You have to create the object. Then next what you have to do? Call the setter methods. PTO dot set first name. First name of what? S1. PTO dot set last name S2. Then what? PTO dot set email. You call the setters S3. So then what you have to do? Put the TO into request object. So how do you put it into request object? By using attribute, set attribute. Yes. So I'll put it down. You can put it into any scope. In JSP you are having how many scopes? Today you'll see. In JSP you have 4 scopes. In Servlet you have got 3 scopes. What are the 3 scopes you have got in Servlet? Request scope, session scope and application context scope. Request, session and context. Means Servlet context. Here also you got the same 3 scopes. Okay. Which one? Request, session. But context scope is known as application. But application is what? Resembling what? Or representing Servlet context. It's a variable. Application is a variable of type Servlet context. Same 3 scopes are there. But one more scope which I got right now here is page, which you will see. So in Servlet there are 3 scopes, but in JSP there are 4 scopes. We'll come to that 4th scope, don't worry. Okay. So yes, but my intention is I want to put it into which scope now? Request scope. So I'll tell request dot set attribute. Let me give the name as, I'll give it as caps PTO, comma PTO. In caps I'm giving the variable name. Done? So then fine. You can, that's the naming convention. You can go with any name. Then once this is done, next what will I do? Yeah, it's stored. My next requirement is what? Collect, store values in TO. Store the TO in what? Request scope. 3 things over. Next step is what? Get the TO from the request scope. Again, I have to get it now. How will you get it? Yeah, object E is equal to request dot get attribute. Remember you have to use full name, no REQ here, because request is a implicit object of PTO. Return type is object. That you have to do what? Typecast. How will you do? %to person, some name I'll give like this, is equal to %to of E. You have to do typecasting. After doing typecasting, what you have to do? Display it. Now see, you can start. Okay, I'll close the scriptlet and I can start using expression. Percentage equal to means your following are the details. First name is, what will you do? First name is, you can use HTML to display. First name is percentage equal to what? Person dot get first name. Then again last name is person dot get last name. Email is percentage equal to person dot get email. Valid now? That's all. So we can achieve this with the help of what? Whatever requirement I gave you, I can do it. Now you might have some questions. Why all this? If I just want to display what? The three things, directly I could have told what? Request dot get parameter S1, S2, S3, and directly I could have told what? Percentage equal to S1, S2, S3. I could have told that. But my concept here is different. I'm not showing you output. I want to teach you the tags. So that is why I created one requirement like this. What is the requirement? My intention is not to display now. My intention is I given the requirement for you to make understand the tags. So that's why I gave the requirement. What? Collect the values, put it into TO, put the TO into request scope. Now get the TO from the request scope and now display the values from TO. If you want, I can directly write percentage equal to S1, S2, S3. But I'm not interested in that. This is what I want. So yes, and for doing that, you can do it. You're not saying no. But what you'll do? You'll write so much of Java code. So we have to avoid it. This can be avoided now. All this Java coding you can avoid. How? With the help of those three tags now. Which are standard actions. Yeah? So let's see how to do it. And I don't have space. So I written the diagram now. So that diagram I'll remove now. Okay. I'll remove it and 1 second. Or I'll remove this only. I'll remove this only. Okay. Let the diagram remain. Diagram is very important for us. Okay. So all this will be eliminated now and instead of this I'll start using what now? Standard actions. Yeah? Shall I clear all this now? You have written it down now. So as I go on writing, you compare. So this is how user detail.jsp will be there. Without what? Standard actions or by using Java code. Now I'll remove Java code and I'll use standard actions. Shall I clear this? So yes, so before we move into standard actions, I'll just take this space, I think. Yeah, just understand this diagram is there, but I'll take the space. We'll be, where I'll write, let this remain. Okay, I'll write it bottom here. So there are some tags, JSP, :useBean. This is one tag, JSP : setProperty. Very, very important tags are all these three. JSP : getProperty. Carefully understand these tags. So it is a Java tag. Why? Because it's having a prefix and suffix. JSP is the prefix, : useBean is what? Suffix. And look at the naming conventions. useBean. B is caps. setProperty, S small, P caps. getProperty, G small, P caps. Means it follows the Java naming convention. Okay, so same way. So that's how you have to remember. And these tags are highly case sensitive. So you have to use it properly. And these tags, they do have attributes. If they are tags, obviously what they'll have? Attributes they'll have. So what are the different attributes now? It's correct I written, just I'll bring it down. Okay, because I need space. JSP : useBean, JSP : setProperty, JSP : getProperty. So if you use these tags, you can avoid the same logic will happen now, but without Java code. So useBean, what are the attributes of useBean tag now? One is ID, then you got class, these are the attributes, ID, class, then ID, class, scope, ID, class, scope. And type. These are the attributes now, remember, of which one? This tag. In useBean tag, these are the different attributes. So you have to give the value here. Are you clear? ID is an attribute, class is an attribute, scope is an attribute, type is an attribute. ID is equal to some value you have to give. We'll see what values. Then class is equal to some value you have to give. Scope, some value you have to give. Type is equal to some value you have to give. Now this setProperty, this is also one more tag. This is also having some attributes. Name is equal to some value you have to give. Property is equal to some value you have to give. Param is one more attribute. Last one is value. Here getProperty is having name and property only. And remember, any tag you open, you have to close it. So yes, we are going to study the attributes one by one now. So useBean, how many attributes? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 important attributes. setProperty, name, property, param, value. 4 attributes. And JSP getProperty, name and property. How many attributes? 2. So totally you have to study 8 attributes of these 3 tags. 4, 4 and 3 now. So let's start using it directly now. You'll understand. See this. If you want to store the values now, just tell this much now. JSP colon useBean. ID is equal to PTO. Means on the top you write HTML. That is optional. HTML body. All this will come now. Since I am not having space, I'm not writing it. And you write HTML body, and below that you start writing what now? JSP colon useBean. ID is equal to PTO. Class is equal to, 1 second. I'll just remove that. You write HTML and P, which one? You write that. I'll start writing directly from JSP colon useBean. ID is equal to PTO. Class is equal to, if you have put the TO in a package, give the fully qualified class name. Scope and type I have to use. So I'll come back to that. Just say scope is equal to request. That's it. Type is pending. I'll use it. So this one tag is equivalent to what you know? One tag is equivalent to what? It will import, it will create the object, and the address of that object will be stored into the variable by name PTO. It's as good as writing that same code. PTO is equal to new %TO. Simple. But you didn't write page directive. You didn't write scriptlet. Then you didn't create the object explicitly like that. Understood? So it will do it now. Next, you want to store the values now? Okay, but don't close the tag. I've still not closed it. Notice, useBean tag has not been closed. If at all you want to store the values in the bean, and now one thing what you have to understand is this bean. Okay, so according to the Java terminology, bean, TO, okay, they all mean same. There's no difference. TO, VO, bean, they are all same. Bean, TO, VO, all are same. Okay, TO means transfer object, VO means value object, bean means it's a simple Java class which is having some properties, setter, getter methods. So these tags have been provided for using your bean only. So all are same. Are you clear with this? Bean, TO or VO. They all mean same. If you look at this percent here, what I written can be called as what now? A bean. The TO is only the bean. It's Java terminology. So there are many authors will use many words. Okay. So when some person calls it as a bean, some person calls it as a TO, some person calls it as a VO, value object. All are same. But end of the day, finally if you see a TO, what it will have, or a bean or a VO? Properties, segregator methods. That's all it will have. Apart from that, nothing else will be there. So that is the meaning. Use bean. You are telling, I want to use on bean. And I am giving a name. ID is equal to PTO. Class is equal to com.cluster.to.percent. You have to give a fully qualified class name. And then you have to say scope is equal to request. Over. That's it. It's now created an object and put there. Next, you have to fill the values now. Just tell this much now. What? JSP colon. Can you guess which tag you'll use? Yes, you should get the idea now. Set property. Okay. Just I'll tell name. In which bean you want to store the values? The name you have given here now. ID. Same name you give here. So the name value and the ID value should be same always. Name is equal to PTO. That is the object. Fine. Name is equal to PTO. Property is equal to star you tell. That's it. Property is equal to star. So that's it. All the values from the request will be collected and stored into what? Your TO. Finished. Only one line. Clear? So in fact, how many attributes are covered now? ID, class, scope of useBean. 3 attributes. Name and property. 2 attributes of setProperty. Understood? So if you say property is equal to star, it will be done. But it is subject to a condition. What condition means? Here, actually see, what is the parameter value? Parameter value depends on what? The value in the request object or the name of the parameter. The name of the parameter in the request object depends on what? The name what you are given to your input field. So what is the name you are given to the input field? First name. What is the name you are given to the input field? Last name. What is the name you are given to the input field? Email. So these are the input fields you have, names you have provided. So when you submit this, these values will come and be stored into the request object. This is the request object. But what is the parameter name now? First name, last name and email. So these 3 names will come from where? From the user. They are the parameter names. They contain value. What is the value? Supposing if I enter Ravi, if I enter Kumar, it will be containing the value. Agreed. It will be containing the value. Understood? It will be containing the value, but the parameter names are depending on the input field name what you are given. So that is why I say if your parameter name and your property names are same, ditto to ditto, what it is here? First name. What is the property name? First name. What is the last name? How it is? Same. LAST name. Highly case sensitive. This is also last name. Email. So you should understand the parameter name and the property name. Parameter name belongs to what? The name in the request object. Property name belongs to what? The name in the TO object. You should understand clearly the terminology. Parameter refers to request object. Property refers to TO. So if the parameter name and property name are same, ditto to ditto, just write one line like this. Over. How many ever values are coming from the parameter? Not 3. You have 100 parameters and you have 100 properties. All of them will be transferred into the TO. It will be retrieved from the request object and put into your TO. As simple now. If this facility was not provided, what should you do now? Request.getParameter TO.set first name. Again request.getParameter TO.set last name. Like that you have to go on doing. 100 parameters are there means 100 times you have to write your code now. For every parameter and every property. Calling the value from the request, getting the value from the request and putting it into the TO now. 100 times you have to write. But now not doing anything. Just you are telling what? Property is equal to star. Are you clear with this now? Okay. So you understood what are the parameter names now? Fine. So by chance now, and this is what 100% it will be done. Just understand now. Finally you'll be doing it as what? Parameter name and property name will be same. But I'm just showing you. Okay. But by chance your parameter name and property name are different. FN, LN, and this one would be em by chance. So in your request object, what is the parameter name now? fn, ln, em. Parameter names are different now. So if the parameter names are different, what will you do? So now let's see how to do it. Clear? So this is how you start doing now. JSP colon set property name is equal to PT only. 1 second. Yeah. Property is equal to, what is the property? What is the property? First name. Yes. What is the param? Fn. Good. So this is how you will do it. If they are different, you will do it like this. Understood? If they are different. But why do you want to do it differently? Better go for what? Star. But my intention is teaching you what? The attributes. So that's why I am covering all the attributes. So either you will go with property is equal to star, or you start telling it as what? Property and param. Both you will use, provided they are different. So only one will be filled now. So this I am commenting. Star will not work here now. Why will star not work? Because property name and parameter names are different. There is no use of using star now. So that's why you have to go on writing JSP colon set property name is equal to PTO, property is equal to last name, param is equal to ln. But still I have not closed which one? useBean tag. Notice that still useBean has not been closed, but I am going on closing which one? Set property tag. Yeah. So again JSP colon set property, all the values you have to fill now. Name is equal to PTO, property is equal to, what is the property? Email, and param is what? em. So one by one you have to fill like this. Which one is better? Star or this one? Star is better. So if you want to use that facility or that feature, better what you do? Keep your param names and property names are same. That's it. If you keep those two as same, property is equal to star will work, and you do not have to do all this. It's waste. Because you have to do explicitly for every parameter and every property. How many parameters you are having now? You have to collect every value from the parameter and put it into the property like this. Becomes a big problem. 100 parameters means 100 set property you will have. Understood? That will be the problem. So are you clear? So obviously which one will be used now? This one will be used. So I will comment this only now. Done? So fine. That is done now. You have stored the values. So once you store the values, next what you have to do? Display it. So now close JSP colon useBean. Close it. Yes, you finish storing the values now. For displaying not required. Directly you can start displaying now. How will I display it? Your first name is, now your details. Following are the details. This is HTML now. Following are the details. Leave one line space here because I have to show you which one. Value attribute also. One line place you leave here. One line, I'll write it later. Yeah. So following are the details. Yes, what will you write? This is the output you want now. First name is, what will you do now? JSP colon get property. That's all. Name is equal to which one? PTO. Property is equal to what? First name. What is the property name? You provide it. Okay. Now no star business for getProperty, because what values you want to display you decide. So for getProperty you have to print each and every value. Clear? So then next, last name is JSP colon getProperty. Name is equal to PTO. Property is equal to last name. Same way, email is JSP colon getProperty. Name is equal to PTO property is equal to email. So here you have to see, remember, it's very simple. Wherever you got the attributes, no, carefully observe. Property means the property name you have to give. Param means the parameter value you have to give. Simple. That's the hint. Okay? So that's it. So this will be your JSP now. The JSP is ready now. So notice, if you notice now, see, actually I'll be writing how many lines of code? This one line I'll write, second line I'll write. These all not required now. Then I'll start doing what? Display. Imagine how much your code is reduced now. So all the code will be generated by whom now? Container. So all this facility or feature has been provided for the developer for what purpose? For avoiding writing Java coding in the JSP. You'll get the output. Understood? So how many attributes I covered? ID. ID is used for what? Giving a variable name. ID is used for giving what? Variable name. Class is used for what? Which class you want to create the object. So you have to give the fully qualified class name. Otherwise how will it know which object to create? Then scope. You have to give the, means after your TO has been created, in which scope it should be put. Actually I told there are 4 scopes. But right now I put it in request scope. Yeah? So for scope there are 4 values. I'll come back to that. So the 4 values what you can give are page, request, session and application. Right now I use scope. So that is what you mean. Means this is one attribute. So then next, name I covered. Yes? In which TO I want to put the property? Set property. Name is equal to PTO. Property is equal to, means you are telling what is the property in the TO you want to store. Then param is used for what? We are telling now, if the parameter name and the property name are different, you are matching now. From this parameter you get and put it into this property. Generally parameter will not be used, means param will not be used because you will be going with what? Star. Why you will be going with star? How will you go for star? Parameter name and property name if you keep star, just property name and parameter name if you keep same, just you have to use star, automatically will be transferred. So param will not be used, but just I explained you the concept. Now value is pending, I will talk about that. Name is pending, property is pending. So how many attributes we covered now? Almost all attributes we have covered. Only 2 are pending now, type and value. Understood? Now for example I will tell email, and supposedly one more is there called as phone now. I am explaining what is type. Sorry, what is value? What is value? I am explaining what is value in which are now? Set property. Okay. See now, user is giving 3 parameter values, but in the bean you are having 4 properties. You got the difference now? Here there are 3 parameters, but in the properties you are having 4. So if you are having 4 properties now, if you say property is equal to star, whatever is matching that will be stored now. Parameter value, property value which is matching, it will be stored. But this doesn't have a match, it will not have any value only. So right now phone is not having any value. So for this you have to give the value. So how will you give? User is not giving now. So you have to give it in this way. See this now. JSP colon, or I'll write it here. JSP colon set property. JSP colon set property. Name is equal to what? PTO. Property is what? What is the property? Phone. Now this time you use value. You are not getting the phone number by the user, no. User is not giving it. So you have to be using what now? Value attribute. So value is equal to, what will you tell? 11111 you can give. It's up to you. So remember, it's very simple. You have to give the value to the TO. Okay, you'll be giving the value to the property in the TO. So when you are giving a value to the property in the TO, either you use param or you use value, not both. Either you use param or value, not both. Either this or this. So when will you use param? When the request, when the value is coming in the request. When will you use value? When the value is not coming from the request. Means that, see here I am hard coding, but later on it will become dynamic. You can get it from database or from an expression you can give, that is secondary. But you will be getting it dynamic. So, but I am just teaching you how to use these attributes. So both these attributes will be used for providing a value to the property. Both the attributes will be used for what? Providing value to the property. That's it. Clear? So that's all about which one now? Set property. Get property, very simple, only two attributes are there. What? Name and property, from which TO you want to display and which property you want to display. So get property is very simple. Set property is also very simple now. Done? So if you know the concept, understanding the tag becomes very easy now. So tags are dealing with concepts. So we are working on very high level of abstraction now. Done? So this is how it works. So are you clear with set property and get property? Set property and get property. First concentrate on set property and get property. So I'll repeat, see, set property, in which TO you want to put. Property, in which property value you want to put. Param, it's dealing with the request parameter. Now value means if the value is not coming in the request, you'll use the value. This is very simple. From which TO you want to display and which property you want to display. Fine. Again coming to useBean now. ID. You are giving a reference variable name. That's it. Class. You are giving the fully qualified class name. Scope. Now I'll go with scope. What is scope? Are you clear? Okay. So I'll explain you about scope now. Then finally I have to talk about type. We'll do one thing. We'll see the output first of this, and then we'll talk about the other two attributes, which are scope and type. So very simple. So I had given you a requirement, and that requirement has been overcome with what? These tags now, stand actions. See, this is the HTML. Okay, enter your first name, enter your last name, enter your email, and you'll submit it. Now if you submit it, where it will come? User detail.jsp. So in the JSP, you know our requirement, I just now written it. So what are we supposed to do? Collect it from the request, put it into the TO, put the TO into request scope. See, all that I am doing. Okay, useBean, PTO is equal to so and so. I have not used the scope attribute. If you want, you can use it. If you don't use it, default will be what? Default value will be always page. Remember that. Default value will be page. These are the 4 scopes what you can give. Very important interview question. What is the default value of scope? You'll understand how to give the scopes. Okay, that's it. Once you do this, this is one option for you. Either you go on telling all this. What? Set property name is equal to so and so, property is equal to so and so. But now see the TO first. One more file I am having. Only 3 files required here, and the TO has been kept where? In this package com.cluster.to. So see this TO now. First name, last name, email. Now carefully check the first name and the login.html name. Both are same now. So when you are creating your TO or bean, better is what? Copy this and paste it here. Copy the input name. Here you copy. Here you copy it, and where you do? Paste it in TO like this. So I'll just show it to you. Supposingly this is your TO now. Just 2 I'll show. From login.html you copy and paste it into what? TO like this. Recommended. Only then star will work. One small spelling mistake, it will not be set. So it's recommended you do like this. Because unnecessarily it will create silly errors, and you'll say what? I'm not getting output. So that's why I'm showing you all these tricks. Clear? So once it is done, because end of the day, what is our requirement? The parameter name and the property name should be same. That is my intention. That's why. So once it is done, so fine. Next, see here. Since they are same, no need of doing this. I have commented it. No need of doing that. All you'll be doing is what? Property is equal to star. That's it. And if you want to display, see this. So hardly you have written 3 lines now. For storing the values, how many lines you have written? Leave this commented line. this is one line, this is second line, and this is third line. Only 3 lines you are writing. Imagine if you have 100 values also only 3 lines. But if you are not given the standard actions, what would have happened? Request.getParameter first name, to.set first name. Request.getParameter last name, to.set last name. Without standard actions, that's how you have to code. See what is the support the developer is getting. Unimaginable support you are getting. Only you have to open your eyes. So they are reducing or relaxing your work and giving what? Luxury life for the developer. They made things very easy for the developer like this. Fine. So that is done. Now displaying is up to you. What you want to display, you display. I am just displaying all the values here. It's not mandatory to display all the values, but I am just showing you how to display all the values. Clear? So yes, let's see this output now. So let's deploy it. First, if there are any other applications, delete it. Yeah, now I'll deploy it. Yeah, what is the HTML name? HTML/login.html. Done. So I'll press enter. See, enter your first name, last name, email. So I'll write Ravi. Last name is Kumar. And I'll give my email, ravi@clusterindia.com. And I'll submit. You know what's going to happen now? See this. It executed. Just I'm using tags. I'm not doing anything. Just the values come to which one. See the URL also if you want. Can you see the URL? User, it is going to the JSP. When I entered, see this. First you had the screen. You entered the values. And when I submit, it is going to userdetail.jsp. The userdetail.jsp, you know what is the logic you have written. Collected the values, put it into TO, got the values from TO and displayed it. It's very simple. Done? Yes. Now we'll come to the other 2 attributes. Which one? Scope and type. Of which one? useBean. Scope and type attributes of useBean. So yes, that's very interesting. The pending tags now. Which one? Sorry, pending attributes. Scope. One more is type. So let me explain this to you. Fine, let's go with scope now. For scope, you can give 4 values. Most important interview question. Page, request, session, application. These are the only 4 values what you can give to scope attribute. It's almost all self-explanatory. You got the grip of that also. Okay, which one? Now let's see this. I'll explain one by one with an example. First I'll go with which one? Page. Supposingly the user makes a request and it comes to a.1.jsp. Any name you want to give. I'll take it as a.jsp only. And here you have created the bean. How you have created the bean? You know how to create it. ID is equal to, then class is equal to, and you have told scope is equal to page. And after doing it, you have used JSP:forward. You are forwarding the request to what? Another JSP now. You can forward now. How will you forward? JSP:forward. Another standard action you use, and that request will come to b.jsp. So if the request goes to b.jsp, now that TO is not available in b.jsp. If you say what? Scope is equal to page. So scope is equal to page means the TO is available only in a single JSP. That particular JSP, that's it. It will not be available to the next JSP. Again you can forward. Here also I can tell what? I'll go on telling now JSP:forward. Here also I'll tell what? JSP:forward. Like this you know how to forward. Forward to what? A.jsp. From here you forward it to b.jsp. So and you can forward it to c.jsp also. So let it go now. And finally who will give back the response? C. But that TO is not available here also, because scope is page now. So the TO is available only to a single page. So you decide the scope now. The developer is having the ability to decide the scope. If you want the value to be available in the next page also, then you think of higher scopes. But by default, it is page. And the TO what you create will be available only in a single page. That's it. Understood? So next, if I want the value to be available in the next page also, what to do? I can tell scope is equal to request. So from A, in A also it will be available, B also it will be available, C also it will be available. But once you give back the response, the request object is destroyed and you will not get back the TO in the next request. Example, the user makes the next request for which one now? z.jsp or x.jsp. You have given back the response. This is the response. Understood? This was request which was moving. So the TO is available in all the JSPs, but once the response is given, it will not be available in the next request. But you know the scope now. It's all about the scope of the objects. That's it. So how long you want to store your TO, you decide. Only for a page or only for one request processing. Okay, then you put it into request scope. But I want it to be available in the next request also, but for a particular user. Means I want that to be in a session object. Fine, you can say scope is equal to session now. So if you put it in session, that TO is available where now? In the next request also, but not in request object. It will be in session object. So request object got destroyed, but now the value will be there in session object. Very simple concept. So now get the value, get the TO from the session object and use it. Your values are not lost. So if you want your values in the next request also, just increase the scope to session. That's it. Okay, next, you want the TO to be available in any request for any user throughout the application, you know, put it into context object. Scope is equal to application. That's all. Very simple concept. So that's how it goes now. So in JSPs you have got 4 scopes. Most important interview question. Scope is equal to page. What are the 4 scopes? Page, request, session and application. Most important interview question. Clear? And in Servlet you have got 3 scopes. You do not have what? Page scope. In Servlet you do not have page scope. So 3 you had already covered in Servlet. All these 3 scopes I had explained you very clearly in Servlet only. Only extra which got added is page. So among the 8 implicit objects, 6 you already knew. The 7th one I am covering now. Page. And page is a variable of type object. Remember that. Page is a variable of type object. And if you say scope is equal to page, that TO what you create will be available only to this particular object. Which object? The JSP gets converted to an object, no? A.JSP converts to an object, no? The TO will be available to what? That object. It will not be available to the next object. That's the meaning actually. Clear? So all are objects here. So your values, in which object you want to store? Either object or request or session or application. You decide. Clear now? So Servlet scopes 3, JSP scopes 4. Most important interview question. In Servlet you do not have the page scope. So that's about scope. Clear? Next, type. Let's come to type now. See, sometimes I'll have one class called as, right now we are having person. We are having what? First name, last name, email. Supposingly there is one class called as gold person. Okay, it will have the same properties now. Almost all same. Which one first, like customer, gold customer, premium customer will go now. Same way, here also I am just creating what? One scenario. Okay, person, first name, last name, email. So then next suddenly you feel that one more property is required, phone. But you want that class to be separate, this class to be separate. Same properties are required. So when you want to reuse the same properties, you know Java's inheritance you use. Gold person extends person, fine. So here you add the extra which one? String, phone. And you can add one more string, credit card. This credit card number or something, or what will take a phone. Something what you take would be, yeah, one you take sufficient. string, okay, credit card number, string CC number. So it's a premium customer for you. But instead of writing the same properties in this class, what did I do? I'll extend. And here also I'll write what? Segregators. You write segregators for this also. So now there are two beans. Sometimes what will happen, you want to create object of subclass, but refer it with superclass. Means typecasting almost all. Okay, that time you'll use type. Very rarely used, which one? Type. Okay, but if you want to do typecasting, you can use it. So it's simple. See, scope. Okay, now see how will I use it now? JSP colon, see the tag, colon, useBean, ID is equal to PTO, class is equal to, now I'll tell, com dot cluster dot TO dot gold person. Type is equal to fully qualified class name you have to give, com dot cluster dot TO dot person. It's create. It will be like person P is equal to new gold person. Finally, when in the source code, if you see, it will be like person means superclass will be referring to what? New gold person. Okay, scope is equal to whatever you want to put. Scope is equal to request or whatever. So if you use type, this is what will happen. If you don't use type, what will happen? It will become gold person PTO is equal to new gold person. For this you should be strong in Java typecasting. That's it. Clear? So in this scenario this will happen. If I don't use type, if I don't use this, okay, I will say, okay, this is scenario number 1 where you are using what? Class and type. Okay, scenario number 2 would be where I am not using type. So this will be how 2 will be happening. If you don't use type, this is how it will work. Means second scenario. Done. Very rarely used. Leave it. Concentrate on only what? Class only. We never use type. Extensively we'll be using class only. That's it. Clear? It's used for typecasting. Basically understand it's used for typecasting. So are you clear with all this? So we'll see some notes now, and then once you understood all this, we'll come to our previous example where we'll see how to use the previous example without what? I'll get the same output without scripting elements or scriptlets or expressions or any of the 3 scripting elements, declaration, expression and scriptlets. This is clear for you now? I covered all this. Yeah, the notes now. JSP tag is used to use the Java beans in the JSP. useBean is used to use the Java beans in the JSP. Done. So this tag locates, yes, this point I have to cover, I'll be covering shortly. This tag locates or instantiates a bean with the specific name and scope. Okay, means what is the meaning of locates? Means the tag first attempts to locate an instance of the bean. First it will try to search, is there PTO? If PTO is not there, then it will create an object. So I'll make you understand that point, do not worry. Clear? But write it. If the bean does not exist, bean instantiates, creates a new one. In our example, the previous one which you saw now, which one? This output what you saw, where you are entering. Is there a TO already ready now? No, TO is not ready. So when you submit it, the TO got created, stored the values and then displays it. So here TO is not there. Clear? So in this example it is not there. So this point I'll be covering now, very shortly. The tag at first attempts to locate. First it tries to search. Is there a TO by name what? PTO. See here. When it comes to user detail.jsp, is there a TO by name PTO? No. So since it didn't find it, what it will do? Creates a new one. And then it will call the setter methods. It will call the setter methods. Fine. So that's what it is doing. But if it finds it now, it will use the same one. So I have to give an example for that. Then you'll understand. Locating now, I have to give an example, I'll give you. Fine. There are 4 types of scopes. Page, request, session and application. Now this is what? Use bean. ID is equal to what you have to give? Any name you have to give. Bean instance name. For class, what you have to give? Fully qualified bean class name. Scope you have to give what? Some scope. The 4 scopes are there. Any scope you want to give. Type is equal to typecasting. You can do any typecasting by giving fully qualified class name. Now next is setProperty. Is used to assign the value to the properties of the Java bean class. We can use either parent or value attribute to set the property, but not both. Look at the attribute setProperty. Name is equal to what? Bean instance name. So this name only you have to use here. Property is equal to what? Java bean class property. Java bean class property. Then param is equal to what? Request parameter value. And value is equal to what? Any value you can give. Fine. Lastly, JSP getProperty is used to get the values of the properties from the Java bean class. And the name is equal to bean instance name. Property is equal to Java bean class property. That's it. Now what are the different scopes or values which you can provide to, anyway, these both questions mean same. The question and answers, what are the different values which you can provide to scope attribute of JSP useBean tag, or what are the different scopes in JSP, explain them. There are 4 scopes in the JSP page. You can use the bean only within the same JSP until the page sends a response back to the client or forwards a request to another JSP. The bean exists for only one page. That's the life. Request. You can use the bean in any JSP processing the same request. In any JSP processing the same request until the JSP sends a response back to the client. The bean exists for only one request. Session. You can use the bean in any JSP in the same session of any request of the same client. The bean exists during the entire session of the client. Application. You can use the bean in any JSP in the entire application for any request of any client. The bean exists for the entire application. Please note the servlet has only 3 scopes: request, session and context. What is the default value of scope attribute? The default value of scope attribute is page. Okay. So this is the theoretical part of these 3 tags what we learned. But practically how they are used in an application. Yes or no? So see, if you see from the practical point of view, no application will ever accept a request in a servlet. Sorry, in a JSP. Second. See, you are getting a request or you will be entering values, whatever values you enter, whatever values, name, first name, last name, whatever you want to enter. Okay, but according to MVC, Model View Controller Architecture, no request will be accepted in the JSP. JSP is used purely for presentation purpose. So always the request will be accepted by a servlet only. Remember that. Practical now. Okay, we are being more practical now. And then the servlet will forward the request to JSP, and finally it is the JSP which will be giving the response. So this is the actual scenario in your projects. So according to that, setProperty will never happen in the JSP. setProperty will be never happening in the JSP. setProperty will be happening where? Servlet only. So all your properties are set in the servlet. In JSP you will only be doing what? getProperty. Practically I am talking now. How it is used in an application. So nobody will accept the request in JSP. And when I see, I have still not covered MVC for you. When we cover MVC, that time you will clearly start understanding all these concepts. But timing you have to understand that JSP is not going to accept the request. It is a servlet which accepts the requests and performs all the logic, because the servlet is very good in writing what? Java code. So all logic you will write here. And finally for display, you will be depending on JSP. So JSP is very powerful in what? Presentation. Servlet is very powerful in what? Writing Java code. So use it to their best. So in here you will start using what? getProperty. So in the JSP you will only be using what now? getProperty. So that comes to the previous example which I did. What did I do? What did I do in the previous example? So let me clear this for you, 1 second. Same drawing only, I'll just manage it here. So this is your servlet, this is your JSP. So your servlet, what it was doing in the previous example? You are entering the name and password, no? If you are entering the name and password, what will you do now? Your servlet will accept the request, connects to the database, retrieves the value. Once you retrieve the value, where are the values? In the result set, because you will be using JDBC. So values in the result set has to be displayed where now? UI. You got your result set here now. This last class we did this. Understood? So you got it in the result set. Now those values you have to display it in the JSP. So when you are writing code in the JSP, it doesn't mean that you iterate the result set and display. You should not iterate, and it means you should not use persistence API in presentation layer. Persistence API means what? JDBC API in presentation layer, it's wrong to use. Okay, that's why what we will do, all the values from the result set, I'll put it into a TO, and the TO will be forwarded to the JSP now. So you have to depend on the scope. So when the request is coming from servlet to JSP, okay, you have got only 3 scopes. Which one? Request scope, session scope, application scope, or that is context scope. So you will tell request.set attribute and you will send the TO now. Why you are telling that? Because I don't want the TO in the next request. That you decide how long you want the TO. Okay, you can say session.set attribute also or context.set attribute in the servlet, and depending on that you have to get the value now. So TO is already ready now. Where? Here. I'll write the code in a moment. Understand the concept. So your TO is already ready. So once it is ready, you will send that to the JSP now. So in the JSP you have to use what? JSP colon useBean. ID is equal to this name only you have to use. What you have told? Request.set attribute you have told, no? Same name you have to use. Request.set attribute of what? Set of, supposingly, capital TO, that name only you have to use. So this time what it will do? The container, it's very intelligent. First it searches the bean, if it is existing or not. If it is existing, it will get that same bean. It's very intelligent. If it is not there, then it will create a new one. Understood? So it is already existing because you created it, but you have to use the same name now. This is a concept, understand it. Understood? So here I use ID is equal to PTO, class is equal to whatever, give that class. Scope is equal to what now? Request you have to tell, because by default it will be searching where, you know, page scope. So first it will search in page scope. If it is not found, it will create a new one again. Understood? So that's why you have to change the scope to what now? Request. Understood how the useBean works? The useBean works in this way. First it searches for that TO in that scope. If it doesn't find, it will create a new one. And that was same happening now, which I told you. So now it is finding. Close it. Only when you want to set the property, keep it open. Now I don't want to set the property. Property has already been set. All you'll do is what now? JSP colon getProperty. Name is equal to PTO. Property is equal to whatever. Start displaying all the properties. I'll write the code in a moment. That's all. How simple they are made for you. So getting the concept is more important here. Coding is very simple. Yeah. So more I'm focusing on concepts rather than output. So this is a definite requirement. So see, request comes, select connects to database, fetches the value, forwards to JSP, and the JSP will display. Perfect now. What a design. Unimaginable. So any web application will be doing the same thing. So that is why these people, means the JSP knew that. What it knows, when they invented the JSP technology, the some people knew that the values will always come from the TO to JSP. They knew that very well. So that is the reason these tags were introduced. Which tag? useBean, setProperty, getProperty, these tags were introduced for that reason. So these tags come with experience of the previous developers. The previous developers were writing a lot of code like this, but they were writing all this code, you know how difficult it was without the help of all this. So to avoid all those problems, today's developers are getting luxury. Luxury means ultimate luxury. But unfortunately, people are not understanding that. What they think now? Their basics will not be strong, and this they'll say, I'm not understanding. But fact is, if your basics are strong, these are very simple things here. Understood? So that's the way. So let's see the code now. The previous example I have shown you. Yes or no? So we'll be setting it. I'll directly show you the code where now. Here in the computer itself. I'll not write it. So you got the concept now. So this concept I have completely explained in previous class for you. How you connect to database, how you retrieve the values, how you put it into TO, how you send the TO from servlet to JSP. All that I have shown. Only in JSPs we are going with what? Expressions, scripting elements and all that. That I will remove with the help of standard actions. So setProperty tag is never going to be used because we follow MVC. We always go with getProperty. Reason is properties are always set in the servlet. That is why I told you at the beginning of the class. I will be covering two examples. One example to make you understand the concepts of the tags and the attributes. The second example will be showing you how those tags will be used practically. So first I covered that. Now I am talking about practical things. So you follow this example only now. So if you have any doubts, all your doubts will be cleared. That's it. So do not worry much about those tags. Just concentrate on getProperty. That's it. Because we talk about the practical point of view. Yeah, see the 14th example which I showed you in the previous class. I'll repeat it for you. See the user, the 14th example, this is the first is the HTML. The user is entering the name and password. So once he enters the name and password, the request comes to what? Your servlet. You know the mapping, it goes to the servlet. And in the servlet, what was your requirement? You have to collect a database. You did this. So this is the code. Yes. So you connected to the database, select name, password, email from customer, where so and so. And once you got the values are there in result set. Now, can I imagine displaying in servlet not recommended? Values are there now. In the result set I got the values. But I should not use servlet for display. So now if you want to display it in JSP, now result set should be used in JSP now. So what we say, MVC says, or some good architecture will never use persistence API in presentation logic. So that is the reason to avoid using the persistence API, I'll put it into simple Java class, which on TO. And in TO we will not write that API. We'll maximum if you want to use also we'll call only getter methods. But at least we'll not write that iteration while rs dot next and all that. So that is why I put it into TO. So once I put it into TO, you know how to put it into TO now. I'll correct the values and put it into TO. But the problem is the TO will be destroyed as soon as the service method completes in the servlet. So before the TO gets destroyed, what we do? It's primary memory. I have to decide the scope. So I decided to put in request scope. Request dot set attribute. What is the name? PTO. Fine. So this name only you have to use in JSP because it's already ready now. If you change the name, you'll get a new object created there. So be careful. So you have to use this name only and you'll forward it. That's all. Everything remains same. But here what you have done, only mistake is, they wanted to avoid using persistence API. So that's the reason they put it into TO. Yes? And now see, it's good. We are not using persistence API. We are not using JDBC API. Persistence API means JDBC API. We are not using. Pretty clear. But still we are writing Java code. That has to be avoided. So we want to avoid persistence API also. We want to avoid Java code. Nothing should be there. So that is the reason what has happened. setProperty, getProperty and all has come now. Understood? So this is the thing. So only change in the example would be what? User detail.jsp. Everything remains same. So that is the example what you'll be seeing now. I'll close all this. So the next example would be the 16th example. This was the previous class example. The 16th example you see now. Everything remains same. HTML, yes, it goes normal. You are entering the name and password. Once you enter the name and password, it comes to what now? Servlet. In the servlet, what you do? Yes, everything. Any change? No. No change. Zero change. Zero. This is same. Understood? Only change will be where now? JSP. What is the change? What is the change? We are using standard actions instead of scriptlets. And this name is what I was telling you. PTO. It first searches. If it doesn't find it, it will create a new one. By chance, if you give a different name now, can you imagine what will be the output? Null. Good. Means it will print all these values. Your name is null, password is null, phone is null, email is null. Because TO will be created. In the TO, the property values will be what? The default value of first name will be what? See, this is your TO now. TO object will be created. Once the TO object is created, these are all what? String. So the default value of string, you know, when the object is created will be null. So that is why I use what? Same name. So it searches or creates a new one. So reduce this. That's it. Very simple now. What is the difficulty now? Imagine. So setProperty will never be used. And look, the tags, carefully observe, useBean has been closed. Because you are not doing setProperty. You should keep it open only when you are doing setProperty. When you are doing getProperty, close it off. Don't keep it open. Only keep it open when you want to use setProperty. Now call the getProperty wherever you want. So class, am I doing any typecasting? No. So we never use those things. Okay. So ID, class, scope. Then if you want, you can go what? That's it, scope. But if it was in session, remember, you have to search, use this as what? Change this to session. Because here what scope you specify, the container will search only in that scope. In which one? What is scope you have specified here? Request means it will search only in request scope. Session means it will search only in session scope. What it will search? PTO. If PTO is not there in request scope, immediately it will create a new one. Okay, if PTO is not there in session object, it will immediately create a new one. So that scope is very, very important. Understood? So remember this point. By chance here, request is equal to request.set attribute I have told in servlet. But here if I tell scope is equal to session, what will happen? It will search in session object. If it doesn't find, again creates a new one. And you start getting null values. Your name is null, password is null. So be careful, because in the new object, the values are null. You are not using the previous object now. A new one has been created. Clear? So be careful with this. So yes, just I have to show you the output now. Nothing else. So again we will remove this useBean and the 16th example you deploy now. HTML. So we have to enter the name and password. But remember, this is highly case sensitive. This value what you are giving should be the name in the same in the database. So in the database, last class we saw, you have to give what? Capital R, capital A. Ravi and Amog, no? Okay, one second. Better see it in the database only. So we are working with the customer table. In the customer table, Ravi, small a, capital M caps. So I have to give this value. I'll give it now. Ravi, AMOGH. So it's connected, got the values and displaying me all the values perfectly. Clear? And it's happy flow. If the user is not existing, it will not display anything. Same thing. Means, see, if the user is not existing, you will see the white color screen. Because you have not written the alternate flow. If user exists, it should display, else you should tell what? You have to again display. Sorry, please enter, means you are invalid user, something like that you have to display. Clear? That is an alternate flow. So fine. Now, for your last confirmation, just see this. I will say, which one in the TO, I'll name it as something like, what name I'll give? You do all this R&D, man. Okay, just if you change the name, you'll start getting what? Null values. That's all you do. I give you the hint. But don't do it. Why do you want? For R&D purpose, you'll do it. But I give you the clear idea, because again, if I start showing you, you'll start getting confused. So better you try it by yourself. But practically, this is how it will be used. All attributes or properties will be set in the servlet, and finally you'll be displaying it from JSPs. This is how it works. Clear? Yeah, this is the meaning now. Now you see the point. This tag locates or instantiates the bean with a specific name and scope. Use bean now. The tag first attempts to locate an instance of the bean in a specific scope. If the bean does not exist, use bean instantiates or create a new bean. That's the actual meaning of it. Yeah? Yes. Now we'll see what is the support the developers are getting for developing an application. See, when an application is getting developed, there are many types of coders in your project. Some people will be designers. They are very good in what? Designing this JSP and all that. Means the front end. Okay, they have excellent creativity idea. Okay, and the other thing is some people, means like we are Java developers, we are excellent in writing logic. So means just I'm trying to explain you. If you read a comic book, okay, you'll have an author also and you'll have an artist also. Who is great? Author or artist? Both are great. Author writes the story. Understood? Artist gives an image for that, means pictures. So as soon as you see it, you'll start understanding. So both are great. Okay. See, author can write a book of 100 pages or 1000 pages. That is his ability. Now artist has the ability of what? Displaying the same in simple images. Both are great. So that's why when you are developing a project, who is great? If I ask, the designer or developer, both are great. Simply you cannot neglect the designer also, because if it doesn't generate a good UI, your application is going to be a flop in the market, because always applications run on UI. No doubt how rich your application is, you can have the excellent logic in your application. Okay, the best logic you can have in your application. But UI is not good, it's a flop in the market. Very good examples you have seen. Why is Linux not so popular as compared to Windows? Windows is highly popular because of its UI. Linux is powerful. Okay, like that, plenty of applications are there. Why is Facebook doing good? UI. It can crash. People are ready to still use it because of what? UI. So no doubt how good logics you write, that is secondary now, because till now you are thinking writing logic only is the greatest thing. But I am telling you, logic is also the greatest thing. But according to that, UI also should be there to support it. So how rich your UI is, that best selling your application is going to be in the market. And it will be user friendly also. So that is why the designer and the developer are given equal preference. So what was happening earlier when we started developing web application, we developers couldn't write HTML code. And we are finding it not only HTML, when you are doing designing now, you need plenty of softwares. HTML is required, JavaScript is required. Okay, forget JavaScript. You need HTML, you need CSS, you need Flash, you need Photoshop. Your knowledge of all these softwares you need. Corel Draw. Many softwares you need. Now we developers are not interested in learning that, but we were forced to learn that. Yes or no? And how much our force is put onto you, you will never get that creativity idea. No, you will learn that. Which on Photoshop you will also learn, Corel Draw also you learn. Whatever you want you will learn. CSS, okay, or HTML, whatever it is you learn. But you cannot be an expert in creativity, because that has to come by instincts to you. Like this author or artist. Artist is very good in drawing. Author is very good in writing. So it is not possible. At the same time, if you ask the designer to come and write that code in what? Servlet, it is not possible. Because you will have to tell form action is equal to dot slash or dot slash, starting from single dot there to writing all this presentation logic in servlet is very, very difficult. So neither can we write the code, nor can the designer can come and write the code. So they wanted to separate it. This was the intention. So that is why what happened, they said for developers, you concentrate on only writing servlets. Designers will concentrate on writing JSP. That is their idea now. And now see, designing a JSP, it's not so easy also as you are thinking. Because see, supposingly I displayed the name and all that. See, name is being displayed here. Name is Ravi. Password is Amog. Something like this. So a very simple display got. But you will need very rich UI display. Now the user means the customer of your application. Somebody who's the which one project to you, like Citibank or State Bank of India, they'll be giving the project to the company. No, in fact, you will not believe they sometimes come with steel margins. I mean scales. Scale, you know, no? They'll tell 1 mm left, 2 mm right. They'll ask you to get the display in that order. Okay, and it becomes very troublesome for our home now. Developers, we can't do it. 2 mm up, 2 mm down, 3 mm right side. Where you'll go on doing now? This is only hardly 2 displays. In your page, you know how much of display will be there. And you see practically, these are hardly few values what you are displaying. So that is the reason these designers are expert. They know how to write table, TR, TD, whatever you want, they'll do it. They are experts. And for them, hardly what value you have to give, you know. You have to use them, means you have to teach them to learn only to use 2 tags. Which 2 tags? useBean, getProperty. That's all. 2 tags you teach them now. What? JSP colon, useBean, and JSP colon, getProperty, because setProperty will never be done. The designers are very happy to learn tags. They love it because they are addicted to it. Yes or no? HTML is on tag, body is on tag, they are addicted. So if you tell them use this tag, this attribute and give this value, over. So hardly he has to learn how many attributes here? 4 or 5 attributes he has to learn, and he knows where to get the display now. Wherever he wants to display, like in this, supposingly he has created on a table now. In that you got on TR and all that. So name you want to display in one cell, he'll do it. Password you want to display in another cell, he'll do it. He's an expert in that. So this is the idea of breaking the business logic from presentation logic. Understood? So otherwise it would have been very, very difficult to do the display now. You can write a very rich application with solid logic, no doubt, but it will fail in the market until unless it has a good presentation UI. So here also you can see that display, we have not done it, but if I ask a designer to add in the user detail.jsp, to add some rich UI and just use what? These attributes and values, he'll do it. So this is the whole idea. So you can see everybody in the project is busy doing their own work. Nobody is meddling with anybody's work. Earlier what was happening? In the Select, if you ask the designer to come and write the code, there he has to use single quotes. For HTML attribute values, what you have to do? Single quote. He'll never know when to use single quote, double quote. Here whatever he wants, he'll go on coding now. Because this is his area, his domination. Understood? Now we also, if both of them were clubbed, neither can designer write code in Servlet, nor can we write designing code in Servlet. Impossible. So this is the solution, finally what we developers are getting now. The best support. And imagine what luxury, just one tag attribute value. That's it. Forget developers learning. You are thinking, how should I learn all this? Finally this will be learned by whom now? Designer. You are thinking how to use this tag? No. Forget you. It will finally, designers will be using this. And as a developer, you should not tell this as what now? The word difficult. So your duty is to fill values in TO like this and give all the values now. What? This value you give him. Use this name. This class means this values you give him. Blindly give him. You tell him use it. For this attribute, give this value, give this value, give this value. Finished. So wherever he wants, in TR, TD, or wherever he wants, top left corner, right side corner, wherever, name has to be displayed, password has to be displayed, what has to be displayed, he'll display it for you. Because he is rich in UI. Clear? So if you write applications like this, then it is going to be long lasting, maintenance will be easy, because UIs are very frequently to be changed. Remember, means there are so many networking sites, every day they'll keep updating what? Their UI only. What? Make it attractive always. In enterprise applications, means when we develop applications for organizations, companies and all, that much of updation will not happen every time. But remember still, it is the main thing which changes in the application is UI. So whenever the UI changes, we were having tough time. But now we will not have it, we will relax. Okay. I have told you the story of designer and developer. Now one more thing I will tell you. In India, there is no concept of developer and designer. You are supposed to work from front end till back end. Clear? So you have to do all this coding. Some rich UI is required, then a special designer will be appointed. Normal UI and all, you only have to do it. So do not neglect HTML also to an extent. That is the reason I am telling you now. Otherwise what you will do now? completely you start neglecting HTML and all that. No, to one extent you are supposed to learn certain things, because see, if you go into applications like organizations, like it might be an Airtel application or an insurance application or a healthcare domain application, there in those applications you don't need rich UI. Simply you need the input fields and values to be displayed from the database here. So there, why is a designer required? So you will only be asked to code. So remember that. So UI also developer should know little bit, to an average extent, not to a great extent. Where lot of creativity is required, yes, it's not your role. But where minimum display has to be done, it is your role. Clear? Yes, sir. So we have completed standard action now. There's still more powerful support is there we have to cover, which will be doing it. We have covered 3. Okay, so what I told you, only this has been given for you for writing Java code. All these 4 what have been provided is for avoiding writing Java code in JSP. So we have covered 2. Next we have to go to EL, which will be doing it. Yeah. So we'll see again, means still some more things are pending, but whatever has been provided in JSP is purely for presentation purpose. Yeah. So more things are pending, we'll cover it, but it's going to be simple. It's going to be very simple, provided concepts are clear. So that's why I told you the story, what developer story, designer story and all that. Yeah. Okay, fine, we'll see it next class, more things.